This game at Old Trafford. They haven't been brilliant at Old Trafford over the years. Their record has improved in recent times. But Manchester United have made signings. There's a lot of excitement about that, Gary. There's a big atmosphere at Old Trafford. How impressed were you with the way they withstood it?
I thought Arsenal, look, both teams will come off the pitch. I was optimistic about United at the end of the game. We'll cover that later on. But I think for Arsenal, they've got that resilience and that toughness about them. That sort of there's very few teams, I think, that can go 1-0 up and feel comfortable in their skin to be able to focus and concentrate for the rest of the 90 minutes. And this is typical of Arsenal. They're really well drilled on set pieces. And look, we talked about this till...
Well, do you think it's a foul?
No, I don't think it's a foul. If we just take it back, so just watch Zubimendi here. If we're talking about fouls, if Manchester United want the foul on the goalkeeper, look at Zubimendi here. I mean, Cunha almost grabs him. So I think there are allowable actions in the penalty area that I think people are allowed to do. If Saliba had pushed him, I'd have said it's a foul. The fact he just nudges him and stands his ground. I mean, you see him here now, there's a bit of a wrestle going on with Mount. There's a bit of a shove from Bayende. I think that's all's fair in love and war there. The goalkeeper has to be stronger. And the biggest mistake the goalkeeper makes is actually not his strength. I just don't understand. He's got his hand like that. Why doesn't he just clench his fist? And even if he just goes like that, a little punch, I think he gets it 5, 6, 7 yards away. It's that little flimsy hand that basically causes him the problem in the end. I know he's obviously not got himself into a good position to go and attack it, but I have no idea why he just doesn't give it a little punch.
A lot of people are talking about this now. Arsenal's results against the so-called Big Six of Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Spurs and Chelsea. They are unbeaten in those last 22 games against those sides. That starts to be some sort of impressive trend, doesn't it, Gary?
Dave, this is brilliant. This is everything that Arsenal weren't 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Everything that we wanted them to be, that we asked of them. When you think of the great Arsenal sides, they were tough. They had great back lines. They could see games out 1-0. They kept clean sheets in big matches. This is a title-winning team that have not won a title, and they've got to change that.
Is it between those three, as you see it, very different teams in Liverpool, Manchester City and Arsenal, the way they go about things?
Yeah, I mean, I think what was interesting about it, I agree with Gary. I think it's very difficult to pick who's going to win the title. I think it will be tight. I think the thing with me with Arsenal from yesterday, I thought that was a great result. Poorly going to Old Trafford, new signings, big atmosphere. The two centre-backs were absolutely fantastic for me. For me, the best partnership in the Premier League. But I think on the back of Arsenal not winning the title last season, we felt that they needed to move the dial a little bit to maybe a little bit more football, a bit more creation. And that was typical Mikel Arteta that we've seen probably over the last 18 months. That was Arsenal scoring from a set piece.
Perhaps not at their best. Not
at the best, but scoring off a set piece. Not creating many chances. Really big back four, making it really tough to beat. Now, brilliant for that day, but it'll just be really interesting over the next sort of couple of months. Have Arsenal sort of moved the dial a little bit? They brought in Zubimendi to maybe play more football through the lines. They've got a striker who think will score more goals, even though, if I'm being honest, I think they'll go back to Havertz in the biggest games. I think that will be the case.
Well, but perhaps Liverpool in a fortnight's time, we'll see.
I can see Gyökeres playing and scoring goals. I think next week, I think they play Leeds. The week after, I'd be very surprised if Havertz isn't playing.
Where are they going to finish? How do they...
You can't leave Gyökeres out of big games.
You can. I think. Well, should we get into this later?
Well, I mean,
do it later.
You say that, but Šeško didn't start on
No,
Sunday.
Šeško obviously is not quite up to speed yet, and you can see obviously that he needs probably 2 or 3 weeks of
Maybe
fitness.
There's an argument that Gyökeres wasn't up to speed either.
No, but what I'm saying to you is Arsenal need a centre forward. They've brought one in. Look, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people give him a hard time for his performance yesterday. I was watching that game from a gantry. I saw glimpses that I thought he'll be a handful.
I think Havertz, in Mikel Arteta's eyes, is too important to him to be a player who's left out week after week. I don't see that happening.
I think he'll have to find a way to try and get him in somehow. I know it's awkward sometimes, but Martinelli does look like he's struggling. And I think maybe trying to get Havertz and Gyökeres in together might be something that he has to try.
Interesting. I'm sure some of this will come up in prediction.
Yeah, plenty going on now. We are going to focus on Manchester United and whether they should have been awarded a penalty for William Saliba's challenge on Matheus Cunha. Well, Dermot Gallagher and Joe Bothroyd joined us on Ref Watch earlier. Safe to say they didn't agree.
I wasn't convinced it was a penalty, but what I would say, if it's going to be a penalty, it's one the referee's going to give. It's not one that he's going to throw to VAR. The VAR's. Okay. I think that. No, that's...
How is that not a penalty? I'm an Arsenal fan as well, by the way. So, it didn't go in our favour. But ultimately, that is a guaranteed penalty. If that happens on the halfway line, it's a free kick.
Well, it didn't happen on the halfway line.
Is it a free kick, though, on the halfway line?
I wasn't convinced it was a foul, but I said
Damn
if
it.
it's going to be a foul...
Let me just ask you this question.
No,
on the halfway line, halfway line, is it a free kick?
It wasn't on the halfway line, Jay. I don't play that game, honestly.
Why not? A free kick on the halfway line should be the same as in the penalty area.
I agree on that. That's why...
So was it a free kick on the halfway line?
No, not a foul.
That is definitely a foul. He's come through the back of him. If that happened to me, you know, the ball was there. He's came through the back of him. He's hit the foot that he's planted. He's hit that foot. The ball's gone nowhere. It's dropped in front of him. It's a penalty.
And Kuna drops back into him.
Yeah, it's a penalty. It's still a penalty.
But
he hasn't touched the ball and he's put his foot there.
If he fouls him, would he not go forward?
OK, if he's not there, he doesn't go down. He controls the ball.
But if he fouls him, would he go forward or backwards?
It doesn't matter where we go. Ultimately, the ball's come into him. He's backing in like this. He's backing in. He's put his foot there to shield the ball. The ball's come there. It's dropped there. Saliba's made that challenge. He's gone to ground, which he shouldn't have. It should be a penalty. He didn't have to go to ground either. He could have just got there, stand on his feet and wait to see what he was going to do. But he made that decision. It's a penalty.
And this is us, instead of Jay's reenactment, we'll see the real thing right here, yet again.
He's actually tried to flick it. He's tried to flick it in the goal. He's that front leg there, Saliba. He's gone through Cunha's left foot. He didn't win the ball. It should be a penalty.
You still haven't convinced me.
That's what we've all got different opinions as
You're
well.
sitting on the fence again.
You've not changed your mind.
You're sitting on the fence again.
Sitting on the fence. I said not a foul.
Yeah, but it would be a foul anywhere else on the field.
No, I don't play that. It's you judge what happens. At that point, I don't think it's a foul.
But why? If it's a foul anywhere else on the pitch, why wouldn't it be in the penalty area?
I wouldn't give a foul.
You wouldn't give a foul for that?
No.
Anywhere else on the field?
No.
Come on, Dermot, you're better than that. You're better than that, Dermot. You're
Says
better
it
than
as
that.
I don't think it's a foul.
I feel like we needed popcorn watching that. That's good, that. Clinton, who do you agree with, Dermot or Jay?
Bella, you're better than that.
I know.
No, you know what? After I was there at the ground and I was thinking, how VAR not intervene in that? Because I did think he caught him. If you look at it, I get Cunha's... You know what it is? If Cunha makes the proper contact at the front post and he tries to flick, but Saliba catches him with his left foot. So for me, as much as I love Dermot Gallagher, I've got a lot of time for him. I'd have to agree with Jay. I think it is a penalty.
Yeah.
And seeing it again when you slow it down, and VAR should have been having a look at it, I think Man United were unlucky not to get a penalty there because Saliba does catch Cunha's foot. But they didn't make... I was there. Man United didn't really go mad about it. I think if they made more of a protest, then... But it shouldn't be just you make a protest that you get it. That's why VAR is there, to help the referee, because it was difficult where the referee was stood. But VAR should have intervened there and it should have been a penalty.
Just to clarify, you agree with Jay, you better dodge Dermot in the corridor.
Nah, but Dermot's a good, very good referee. Never booked me, so I like him.
Look, the other major incident that we need to talk about is Arsenal's goal and Altay Bayindir's costly error. Do Manchester United need to sign a new goalkeeper? They have splashed out at the other end of the pitch, haven't they? But do they need a new keeper?
Of course they need a new goalkeeper. You know what? I was really impressed with Man United, but not the same old problems with the goalkeeper. Not strong enough. I don't know, for the life of me, I've seen it many times when I was playing. A goalkeeper usually has a defender in front, Bella, and the defender pushes the striker off, so it enables the goalkeeper to come out and get that punch. It wasn't strong enough. You have to be strong. In that situation, if I was playing, I want my goalie, even if I'm the defender, come and clear everything out, and then argue about it after when I've come off the floor and you've punched me, but at least you've took everything. David Raya had one of those in the second half and he managed to punch through it. That's the difference between quality of goalkeeper. That's why I think Man United need to strengthen in the goalkeeper department but it's strange how, and I look at it now with goalkeepers, they don't want the centre forwards up against them because they want freedom. They always have a defender there in front of them and the striker there and says, make the defender keep the striker away. He didn't do that, so it's poor goalkeeping.
Who do you think United could get?
Well, we spoke to Carragher earlier. He said Donnarumma would probably cost too much money and in wages. And you're looking at it, they were linked to Emi Martinez as well. But he's obviously still at Aston Villa. He's a top goalkeeper as well. So I don't know, but they need competition. They need to bring... Obviously, Anana's probably when he comes back fit, he's only just trained for a week. He will be the number one. But he made mistakes last season as well. And you can't afford to make big mistakes like that at a club like Man United.
Well, this is the thing. And how costly could that be to Ruben Amorim if he doesn't get someone in new.
Yeah, it could be costly. Listen, Man United were the better team yesterday, and Arsenal fans and the probably players in Arsenal will say they were the better team, but they took 3 points. The reason they took 3 points, you know who's man of the match? Who's Sky give man of the match? David Raya. So that was the difference between goalkeeping. But attacking going forward, Man United were outstanding. I think it could be the difference between them having a good season and not so good season. A mid-table team, Man United, is the goalkeeper situation. So they need to get that sorted.
Did you see enough yesterday to convince you that they are actually improving under Amorim? There were positives.
Oh, there were big positives. And Buemo and Cunha were outstanding. I thought the link-up play, and Mason Mount, I throw Mason Mount into that. I think if Mason Mount, he'll be like a new player. He's had a lot of injuries. I do like Mason Mount. I think he's a very good player, but they were outstanding, in particular Cunha. He done one flick round the corner when Ben White was chasing him, and he was fantastic. He's really involved. I think Man United fans will like him. I think he's better. He started off in the number 9. I think he's better in the 10 on that left-hand side where he comes into little pockets. But really exciting. And then Buemo, we know what he can do. Šeško needs to hit the ground running. You've got Bruno in a deep position, who done well with Casemiro. I thought Casemiro, people were questioning Casemiro. I thought the two of them done well. A lot of positive signs for Man United, in particular going forward.
Yeah, OK. Right, plenty more coming up. Jack
Liverpool, this deal is worth around £25 million, and he's signed a 5-year contract. Some more details about this deal. Liverpool have included a buyback option because obviously they think he's such a good player that if he carries on developing the way he has been at Bournemouth, Liverpool in the future will have the option of signing him back. Doak attracted a lot of interest earlier this year from clubs like Crystal Palace and Ipswich Town. This summer, we're being told that clubs like Nottingham Forest and Leeds United, as well as Porto, were interested in signing Doak. And if you add up how much Liverpool have made from selling players this summer, because I know a lot has been made about how much Liverpool have spent, if you add up their sales, it now comes to a guaranteed £206 million. But if you factor in add-ons, it could be £227 million. So somebody at Liverpool doing a very, very good job of selling players as well as buying them.
Yeah, that's often forgotten when we talk about how much clubs are spending. All right, let's talk Manchester United then. Now, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Roy Keane, bloke I saw in the corner shop the other day, all saying United need a new keeper. Are they going to get one?
Easier said than done, Mike. It's going to be difficult to get a deal done to bring a new goalkeeper in at Manchester United with just, well, we're now officially less than 2 weeks left in this transfer window, aren't we?
Is the timing the issue?
It's partly that, but also, does Ruben Amorim want a new goalkeeper? So you've got a situation here. There was talk earlier in this transfer window when there were doubts, major doubts over Andre Onana's future. He then got injured during pre-season. So effectively ruled him out of a move because he was injured. So he was going to be out until the start of the season, people thought. So he wasn't going to get much of a pre-season in. And publicly at least, Ruben Amorim has said that he is backing the 3 goalkeepers that he's got. Andre Onana, Altay Bayindir and Tom Heaton. Now, there was lots of conjecture yesterday when the team was announced for Manchester United's game against Arsenal and the squad was announced. Andre Onana nowhere to be seen. They interviewed Ruben Amorim before the game. Why isn't he there? Well, is he injured? Is he not fit? No, he's fit. So everyone assumed that Andre Onana had been dropped. He played that down later simply by saying, look, he's hardly had any training time, he's hardly had any game time, and that's why he chose Altay Bayindir ahead of him yesterday. Now, if an offer in these last 2 weeks was to come in for Onana that Manchester United maybe couldn't refuse, then there's the possibility that they would try and see if there's a keeper available that they can bring in. But at the moment, it would be very, very difficult because there's been no offers for Andre Onana and there's no sign at this stage that Andre Onana wants to leave Manchester United anyway.
There's quite a good goalkeeper hanging around, available. Donnarumma, why don't they just buy him?
Good question. I mean, arguably he's the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. PSG have made it clear that they are going to sell him in the next 2 weeks. Having said that, even though he's only got a year left on his contract, PSG is still looking for around 40 to 50 million euros. So that is, what, around 40 million pounds. Now, he's also on big big wages. The information we have is that Manchester United, Manchester City have not been in contact with his representatives. Now, potentially that could change, as Dharmesh said. If United were to sell Onana, then potentially maybe they'd pick up the phone and contact Donnarumma's representatives. But even then, it'd be very, very complicated because there's the big transfer fee and there's his big wages as well. And you'd have to convince him, I think in United's case, to move to Manchester United because he wouldn't have any European football. And he's going from the Champions League champions. That wouldn't be a case at City. But of course, City would also need to sell somebody like Ederson, but they've just signed a very, very good goalkeeper as well. So I hear what people are saying about Donnarumma. He's available. Why doesn't somebody go out and sign him? It's not quite as simple as that.
I'm going to use the B word, brinkmanship. It was less than 2 weeks to go. I think PSG and Gianluigi Donnarumma are probably looking at each other and just having a staring contest. Who's going to blink first here? Simply because PSG, on one side of it, know that Gianluigi Donnarumma needs to play because there's a World Cup next summer. Whereas Gianluigi Donnarumma is thinking, I'm not going to rush anywhere until the project is right. And PSG, he knows PSG want to sell him. So the later this goes in the transfer window, could there be a situation where you get into the final few days and there's a situation where PSG think, we're not going to get the big transfer fee that we wanted. He's only got a year left on his contract. But if we even loan him for this season or even let him go for free in this transfer window, we actually end up getting rid of the wages as well, because you're looking at 15 to 17 million pounds of a saving that they'll make, rather than the other bit of brinkmanship where they don't do a deal for him. He'll be the number 2 goalkeeper. He won't play, and yet he'll be paid this huge wage.
Where's your gut? What do you think will happen?
I think he'll go. I think a few things still have to happen, though. Particularly, we keep hearing about Manchester City, and there's this interest from Galatasaray in Ederson. Now, if that one wants to come to fruition, there is a chance that Manchester City might approach PSG and Gianluigi Donnarumma's representatives. But as Carragher said there hasn't been any approach to his representatives at this stage. That's because the two clubs that we keep talking about, the two Manchester clubs, have still got a full complement of goalkeepers in their department. So until that changes, Donnarumma is not going to go to either of those clubs. But the closer we get to the end of the window, because over the weekend, I think a lot of eyes were on the Manchester City squad as well. And Ederson had a stomach bug. That's why he missed that game. Then you've also got to think about what James Trafford must be thinking. He starts the game, he thinks he's the number 1, and then if they suddenly go for Gianluigi Donnarumma, where does that leave him?
Exactly. All right, let's talk Tottenham. Eza, is he going there?
XG regular back with us. Glenn Murray's here alongside me to dissect the opening weekend's action, and of course keeping us company throughout the season as always it is Leroy Rossignol. Leroy, what's caught your eye this weekend?
Thanks Matt, and welcome Glenn. A new season always brings new surprises. I've spotted some real funnies, and yes, even in week 1 we've already had some standout showboat moments on the pitch.
We certainly have, haven't we, Leroy? Some standout moments. It's great to be back. It's great to have the Premier League football back. It's kicked off with a bang as well. Fantastic game, actually, at Old Trafford. I think we saw a significant improvement from Manchester United compared to last season. Disappointing result, but certainly, Glenn, I think the performance will please Ruben Amorim and the Man United fans.
Yeah, without doubt. I think that was one of my major worries going into the season, is that all this newfound optimism around Old Trafford, the first goal that goes in, that fragility might just rear its head again, but it didn't. They remained positive, and I think they were probably the better team. Loads of positives to take, but ultimately it is another loss for Ruben Amorim.
Absolutely. You covered the game yesterday, Leroy. What did you make of it?
Well, I thought United overall were the better side, and they deserve to get something out of the game. Arsenal did what they've done for many years. They got the goal, and then they just enjoyed defending it. And I thought they'd show a little bit more. It's early in the season, but well done to Arsenal for getting the 3 points. But also, well done for Man United. The integration of the new players, I thought, was a real positive, even though they got nothing out of the game.
Yeah, I think everyone's eyes were drawn to the opening selections of the two managers. Who would they select? Who would they pick? Lots of new signings at both clubs. These are the teams that they went for. These are the formations that we were given pre-match. Actually, as it turned out, Leroy, Cunha played more through the middle and Mount was that inside 10 on the left-hand side, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but when I saw that, Matt, I thought, oh, Mount is going to play a kind of false 9 position and to kind of do a job when United didn't have the ball on Zubimendi, because Zubimendi's so good with that first pass forward. And so it surprised me that he was out on the left and Cunha was in that central area.
Yeah, definitely. But I think on a more of a positive note, Cunha and Mbeumo just give that running going forward for Manchester United, that exuberance. A worry for me a little bit, I think, moving forward is Fernandes and Casemiro, especially when Fernandes likes to drift forward at moments. Can Casemiro, has he still got the athleticism to be able to be a protector of that back 3 or 4?
Well, last season there was lots of issues with the Man United team, wasn't there? Certainly scoring goals was a problem. 44 they got last year, so you can understand why they've brought in 3 forward players. But they had issues in goal and they had issues in midfield.
Wow.
Those 2 yet to have been
They've still
rectified.
got issues in goal.
And they've still got issues in midfield as well, haven't they? So there's still a couple of positions that you would expect maybe some movement really at Old Trafford in the next couple of weeks.
Well, they've been strongly linked to a couple of players. I think Balib's been hotly linked, and so has Donnarumma. Whether they get either of those, but if they do, they're looking more like a Manchester United side that can compete, aren't they, Leroy?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I must say, you could see the system that he wanted to play. It was so defined. I thought the back 3, Shaw, De Ligt and Yoa were outstanding. And it was a defined back 3. The amount of times they got the ball and the wing-backs were high up the pitch. You could see what Amorim was trying to do, and I thought they implemented that really well.
And Ruben Amorim, he was very vocal when he first took the job, wasn't he? He would have preferred to take it in an off-season, and you can see why now.
Yeah, absolutely. No Højlund in the squad yesterday. Everyone thought that maybe Šeško would start the game. He started on the bench. As we said, Cunha through the middle as a false 9, if you like. It's a position where he can play.
Yeah.
What do we think of his performance?
I thought it was outstanding. I thought he looked like he'd been in the Man United shirt for many, many years. He just seemed to... He wore the number 10 shirt, his touch and his... What surprised me was his running power as well. But he was just absolutely brilliant. I thought Mbeumo was dynamic as well, but I thought he was the standout performer. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I think they've lacked a ball carrier, and Cunha provided that. We see that he played in the false 9. Personally, I think it would have been better if they had an out-and-out 9 that was trying to break that line, always get forward and then create space for your number 10. But ultimately, as far as Premier League debuts go at Old Trafford, it was a really, really positive one. And I mean, they've both pulled the Manchester United shirt on, and they look very comfortable with the way.
But this is the issue. This is the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got a real an out-and-out number 9,
this is what the point
they get in the box, don't they? Cunha wants to come to the ball. He's a number 10, really. He wants to come and get it. He wants to go and run at people. Wants to take shots from distance. Wants to take people on. He's not a natural at getting himself in the box. Yeah, and that's a problem.
It doesn't come naturally to him to get between the sticks and occupy the centre-backs. Really, he should be in front of the Arsenal centre-back and looking for that front post ball, and then opening up that edge of the box space for, I think, is it Mason Mount arriving there. And it's a knock-on effect, and it's beneficial for everyone on the field. Unfortunately, doesn't do that. Comes to nothing.
Yeah. The thing is, at Wolves, all these goals, most of his goals scored from outside the box.
Yeah.
Those positions he picked up. So they need to introduce that striker to create more space for him on the edge of the box. But they did this really well, United.
Yeah.
In transition, they got forward early.
This time Cunha does get in the box. So I think Dalot gets down the outside. Now you've got Cunha in the middle of the box. Where's everyone else? Where else is the support? Who's joining?
Yeah, you have to have more than that. Yeah, you need to have somebody getting across that near post and someone just picking out the penalty spot for the cutback.
Yeah, and I think that will come with a bit more bravery, understanding the system more. I mean, you really want somebody... So if Cunha's going to hit the front post, so you want somebody crashing the back post. They've got the edge of the area covered with one. They'd probably like a couple round the edge of the area and pin that ball in there. But a better position from Cunha in this build-up. And this is what Manchester United needed a little bit more of.
Definitely saw the wing-backs higher up, though. Yeah. You saw Dalot there. The 2 crosses have both come from Dalot, going on the outside of Mbeumo. So we saw, I think, the wing-backs much higher up in this game than we saw last year.
I think the distances were excellent. Yeah, and when I say distances, and I'm talking about the back 3, giving them being 15, 20 yards in front of the back 3. So when it did go into Mbeumo, it was quick. Dalot could catch up the play, and they could interchange passes very quick. This is a really good example. Dogu,
starting position, how high he is.
Look at the space he's got. And then you've got 3 players trying to get in the box. Again, he couldn't really cross it in the box. He's really unlucky, that he didn't hit the target.
I think just having support up there with him, we've seen the 3 players up with him. I think there was moments at Manchester United last year where people weren't getting forward. Right here we can see 5 forward in high positions, making things happen.
But there's a line of 5, and they're all trying to get forward, but are they trying to get in the box? This is a big issue for me. So I think when we play it on, and they go down the right-hand side, and Bumo looks to cross, is looking to cross the ball. But he can't really cross the ball because there's nobody breaking the neck to get into the box, is there? He tries to play that ball down the side. This is the front 3.
Yep.
So Mount, Cunha and Bumo. In the first half, all their touches. In the first half, not too many, well, none inside the opposition 6-yard box. There's a few inside the box, but not loads.
There's none within 12 to 15 yards of the Arsenal goal, and that ultimately is a problem, and that is why eventually I think Cunha will probably start on the left.
Yeah.
And then we'll see more of the new addition in Sesko.
I think what we saw, though, is in Mbumo and Cunha, 2 players who've got the personality and the character to play for Man United. They looked to take responsibility, didn't they? Cunha especially looking to drive and take people on.
And I think the rest of the players might have been used to it. Because all last season, the ball will go up there and they'd be a little bit hesitant about getting forward. But now, Cunha and Mbumo both have got their first games under their belt at Old Trafford. They can see that Mbumo, the first thing he's going to do is look to turn forward.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times where Cunha was turning forward towards goal and you think, wow, how did he do that? And we'll come across that later. So for other players, maybe their trigger's got to be a little bit earlier. While that ball's on its way to the likes of Cunha and Mbumo, they've got to get on their way so they can catch up play and get beyond them, Glenn.
Yeah, I think probably last year with Højlund up there, it wasn't sticking so much, and Xerxes. They weren't gaining control high up the pitch. Now there's going to be more belief, especially for Dorgu and Dalot, the wing backs, that the ball is going to stick and they can commit earlier and get up the pitch higher. And I think also, when you get higher up the pitch, you need balance at the back. Yeah. I really like Luke Shaw, the left centre-back, because he's agile, he's comfortable in stepping in. So is Lenny Yoro.
Yeah.
So I just think...
And comfortable going into those wider areas
Exactly
as well.
that, yeah. So they can cover down the channels, but they can also step into traffic. I just think the balance around Manchester United is much better.
Absolutely. There's a lot of talk about a number 9. Old Trafford needed a number 9. Gyökeres was someone that was linked because obviously Ruben Amorim coached him previously. He ended up going to Arsenal. We'll have a look at his performance a little later as well. But Sesko, on the bench, not been in the building too long, so maybe you can understand why he didn't start the game. But he got half an hour. What do we think of his performance?
Well, people have been talking about Benjamin Sesko for the last couple of years, and he's all about potential. He's a great athlete. He looks the part. He's quick. He's
That's
mobile.
Getting in the box, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really...
That's that desire to get into the area.
And look, Glenn, he just occupies people, and it takes the pressure off everybody around him as well.
Yeah, well, when we've highlighted Cunha for not going in there naturally, we can see Sesko right away. It naturally goes in between the sticks, occupies the centre-backs and therefore opens up more space and gives the team options to cross the ball. We can see a good hold-up play. This is what you want from your number 9. Keeps the ball alive, recycles it, and look, still trying to get in there. Doesn't come to him, but he's always trying to create an angle or give an option.
And what I also liked about him, Glenn, all his runs were within the width of the 18-yard box. He was never running out towards a corner flag. You see now he sets...
He's got that link play, but look at him now. He's got a desire, hasn't he, to get himself into the box.
Getting in the box, getting towards the goal.
Look how many times he makes them run, little darts.
3 or 4 runs. But he ends up centre of goal. And if you end up centre of goal, and you know this more better than most, Glenn, you're going to get opportunities.
Yeah, well, I mean, when the ball's coming, I mean, listen, we look at Mbeumo, he's played with the number 9 ever since he's been in the Premier League, an out-and-out number 9, and we highlighted him looking to cross the ball. Yeah. There's no one in there. Sesko will give him that option to be able to cross the ball.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean by a bit more comfortable Manchester United. Lenny Yoro just stepping in, athletic, young centre-back, a modern-day centre-back. This
bit ambitious.
Yeah, a little bit excited. It's his first game at Old Trafford. I mean, you can give him that. He wants to make something happen in the game. But all in all, I think it was a really positive performance.
I know a lot of people have already talked about his attitude and how he trains and how he goes about his business. He's the first one in the training ground, the last one to leave it. He wants to learn. He's asking questions all the time of the coach, Ruben Amorim, what he wants from him. I think there's an appetite to get better and improve as well.
And I think that's why United have gone for him, because there's room for improvement. Yeah. And he doesn't have to hit the ground running. And maybe that's why he's kept him on the bench.
Does he not have to hit the ground running, though?
Well, I think that's...
because he probably does, doesn't he?
Man, get him on the pitch, get him on and get him playing. But Ruben's saying we want to keep the pressure off the player, and I think it was a good move. A lot of Man United fans saying, he should have started. But for the player, and in terms of his integration, his long-term integration into the side, I thought it was the absolute right decision. Give him a little bit of time, and it keeps the pressure off him. OK,
Man United yesterday, compared to Man United last season, I think it's fair to say there was an improvement. These are the numbers. This is the difference between Ruben Amorim in charge last year compared to. No, sorry, this is this game yesterday.
Yeah.
This is the game yesterday. So United were much better in terms of the numbers, weren't they, than Arsenal? 22 shots to 9. The possession was really interesting as well, how United dominated the ball yesterday. That was a bit of a surprise. Maybe we didn't expect that.
And I think when you get beat at the weekend, you're disappointed. But when the dust settles, you have a look at the stats and you think, if we can keep those stats up throughout the course of the season, more often than not, we will win games. I mean, 22 shots, asking questions of a really resilient Arsenal team. And they pushed Arsenal.
They did.
What did we learn then yesterday?
What we learned is because United had 61% of possession, they can then defend with that defined 3. Last season, when they didn't have possession, the stats were poor.
So this is the comparison then. This is the United yesterday compared to the average under Amorim last season. More fast breaks, more shots from fast breaks, more shots on target, more touches in the opposition box. The passing was better, more duels won, faced less shots and had more possession. And everything was better.
Yeah, and that 54% possession means that then they were playing more with the 5. You know, when Arsenal had possession and pushed them back, playing more with 5, and they didn't have the ammunition to get forward. But now they've lifted that, and he wants more possession, Glenn. He wants to control games. That means they can get on the front foot, win the ball high up the pitch. And that one, Jules 1, is about a change of attitude as well.
Yeah, front foot. I think that picture of him was taken after he saw those stats. Because even though he did get beat yesterday, he'll be a much happier manager.
We saw the stats, we saw the numbers. The only number that really matters is Man United 0, Arsenal 1, and it came from a goalkeeping mistake, didn't it? Bayern Deer should do better, should be stronger. I mean, you've been a number 9 up against a goalkeeper, standing in his way, trying to block him.
Well, he's caused a problem for himself every time he starts a Premier League game now.
Yeah.
Because everyone will be standing on him. They'll be making it very difficult for him. Listen, I feel for him to a certain extent because it's a mismatch.
Yeah.
Saliba on Mount. Mount has got to do much better. He's got to hold his defence. He's got to protect his goalkeeper. And we can see here, all of a sudden, he's in a fight. And when this ball comes off, he doesn't have the time to correct himself, to set himself to punch. And it's a flailing arm. It's an unsteady start.
Surely he should be going with his right hand anyway, no?
Do you know when I watched that, he didn't even expect the contact.
Yeah. No.
And you know, as a goalkeeper, you've got to be ready. You've got to make sure you're nice and solid. Expect the contact, get your arms up. Then you...
I think even his starting position, he's starting like this. He's looking out towards the contact. Like, you've got to be feeling to see if something's coming, and then you can move your legs and you can move away and create that space.
This is a problem.
Jump back in.
Set-piece goals for Manchester United. This is last season. There's only Wolves and Southampton conceded more from set pieces. It's clearly an issue. Is it simply a goalkeeping problem, or is it a team problem?
I think this instance yesterday is very different to what we're talking about here, because that was an individual error yesterday, wasn't it? I think we can all safely say that. It wasn't a knock-on effect of bad defending. It was an individual error that you can account for, and you can kind of say, listen, we need to protect him more. So I expect that, like all the other stats we've seen already, to get much better this season.
So, if you're a manager, Man United manager, after that performance, a great performance, but a mistake has cost you, getting anything out of the game, who would you start in the sticks next week? Brian Deer or Onana? Glenn?
Well, I might be in the transfer market, Leroy.
Let's do that.
You haven't got that option at the moment. You haven't got that option at the moment.
You haven't got that option, but who would you start?
Who would I start? I would probably start Onana.
Yeah,
just because he's more accustomed to the people playing in front of him. He's got better relationships with them. And physically, I think he's stronger.
Yeah, I would as well. I'd start Onana. What about Arsenal? What about their performance? What did we learn about Arsenal yesterday that we didn't know already? Because we know they're pretty good at the back, defensively strong. We know they're good at set pieces, scored from a set piece, but didn't play as well as perhaps we would have expected them to.
They didn't play as well. Bukayo Saka had hardly anything happen for him in the game, but they have the ability to just churn out a result. And I'll tell you what we learned about them. Their squad has got depth. And I tell you what, the people coming off the bench, I think, I forgot about him. Oh, I forgot about him. They were all starting last week. Moreno came on with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Their strength in depth was absolutely outstanding. What we also learned was that Martin Odegaard's maybe back to his best. And
terrific, wasn't he?
And with Zubimendi
Yeah.
getting on the ball, find the first pass, I think this might have given them a new dimension.
Yeah. We said that Man United needed a number 9.
Yeah.
Arsenal, everyone's been saying for a couple of seasons, they need a number 9. They need an out-and-out striker. They've gone with Gyökeres. Now, you played with Victor Gyökeres, at Brighton.
Yes.
Did you expect him to be in this position when you played with him at Brighton? And the, I don't know, the development that we've seen from him and the standards and the where he's reached in his career really now?
Listen, I think it's very hard to judge a striker when he's 18, 19 years old. There's only the really special ones that burst into the Premier League and cause a stir. He's gone away, though. He's developed his game. He's proved himself at Championship level. He's proved himself over in Portugal. And now he's got his opportunity in the Premier League, in arguably the best league in the world. I have no worries about him. Robustness, his body type. I think he's a really strong, physical young man. My only concern with Victor is if they can find an even keel of Arsenal suiting him and him suiting Arsenal. Obviously, I think if we saw him on the other side yesterday in a Ruben Amorim team when we highlighted Cunha, if he was that constant runner, he'd have probably got a few more opportunities. But listen, he's getting criticised today. He didn't have a great game, but neither did his team. His team didn't play very well going forward.
Does it take time?
Does
it take time?
It takes time to build those relationships. I have no doubt he will score goals for Arsenal. It's almost impossible not to when you're surrounded by Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka. Chances will be created. I think he's getting a bit of a rough deal today off the back of an Arsenal resilient performance.
Gyökeres' performance then, Leroy?
It's tough.
Talk me through it.
It's tough going into that Arsenal side because there are tactical things that you need to be aware of. You know, and I honestly feel that, you know, that he wants to run down the sides, and Arsenal don't do that too often. But when he runs down the sides, he can do this. He can get hold of the ball. He's strong, and he can bring people into the game. But Arsenal don't do that. They want to play through the lines. And you know, you saw when Havertz came on, Havertz is aware of what Arteta demands tactically. So I thought they looked better with Havertz.
Havertz a technically more gifted player, though. Very different players, aren't they?
I think he's a very clever player, Havertz. But what I will say about Gyökeres is that I think him and Odegaard will create a really good relationship because eventually Odegaard will realise that every time Victor's going to run beyond and he's going to give him that option and create space for him.
That's his 22 touches yesterday. I mean, we wouldn't have expected that, surely, would we? With his goal-scoring record over the last few seasons, you'd expect him to have far more touches in the opposition box than that, and certainly more threatening. He didn't even have a shot, did he?
Well, I think it was the first time he'd not had a shot in 69 league games since 2023.
Right? Wow.
But I feel really harsh saying that's a reflection on his game and not the team's game.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've watched him in Portugal. It was almost a goal a game. You know, he's been scoring. But look, 60 minutes played, no shots, successful passes, 4 touched in box 3. But you know what? They came out and they got the 3 points.
Exactly. And that was the most important thing, wasn't it? I mean, it sets a marker down. From what we've seen over the course of the weekend, are Arsenal title contenders again? Are they going to have enough this time to get over the line? They finished second 3 years, right?
You know, I don't know, but they're definitely contenders. You know, I think they're in that 4 that I've got, like Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal. I think they'll be contenders. There's absolutely no doubt about it. When they do pick up injuries, I think they've got the depth to deal with that. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, contenders, without any doubt. I think Mikel Arteta came out with a really interesting stat. Was it the most points in the last 3 Premier League seasons combined? So they're thereabouts. Can the number 9 be the difference?
I was going to say, is Gyökeres the difference?
I honestly don't think he will be. Right. And that's nothing to do with Victor. I just think that other teams have done so well in the transfer market.